Good morning, guys. Can y'all believe that you are about to finish? I'm so proud of you. I've gotten a couple of text messages that said we might need some clarification on capstone options. So I'm just making this short video, excuse me, to try to clarify some of it. So what we did in the live class the other day was we looked at these ISTE standards for certification as an ISTE certified educator, and we try to look at which ones we don't think that we have met throughout this program yet. You guys gave your suggestions on how to meet it, and that led me to here. I'm definitely not finished with this document, but let me walk you through what you can start on. So you have to choose 3 of the 5 projects that are labeled major, and you have to choose 2 of the 4 projects that are labeled minor. So major, 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 and then down here, minor, 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 minor. So 2 of the minors, 2 of the 4 minors, and then 3 of the 5 majors. So the first one is fairly self-explanatory. There is an existing online module that were created by ISTE leaders that is directly aligned to this ISTE standard. So what you would do is basically just go here and you would complete the week 3 of this personal learning network course. Now throughout this, it will say to post to their discussion board. Instead of that, I just want you to post to, obviously, our discussion board and go through it and build your personal learning network. That one's fairly self-explanatory, and that is building on when we started following people on Twitter and following the ISTE feed on Twitter. So that's one of your choices for a major project. The second one is advocate for equitable access. And when I started researching how other people are showing that they meet this one and what ISTE certification people are accepting to meet this one, it was all about universal design for learning. So I put this together yesterday, and I tried to do my best resources that I could find. So go through all of these that I asked you to, and then create a lesson plan aligned to the Universal Design for Learning guidelines. You will see examples here of where teachers are taking existing lessons that they're already teaching in their classrooms, and there are 3 principles to Universal Design for Learning, and they're adding on how they could modify that existing lesson according to those 3 principles. So that's where I'm going here. I also say to align and reinforce the ADDIE project in 511, allow students to facilitate and guide learning and take ownership of their own goals. So I'm going to go over here to 511, and this is the ADDIE model. And this is where we're trying to get that standard that says facilitate and guide students as taking ownership of their own goals. That standard ISTE standard number 19. So after, again, researching what ISTE is accepting to prove this, it's all about giving students choices in classwork, in homework, in modules, in assessment tools, and things like that. So with this part of the capstone, I really feel like UDL and doing this goes hand in hand with giving students a choice in how they show you that they have mastered a skill, or a choice of how they choose to practice a skill. Okay, so those 2 are done. I like those 2. I'm confident that those 2 will be okay if done correctly for the ISTE evaluation. These next 3 projects, I have 2 of the 3, I have something in there. And basically what I'm doing is Be Internet Awesome has an awesome lesson on being empathetic and socially responsible. I really like that. So I said implement that lesson. And then Google's Applied Digital Skills has a lesson with 8 mini lessons that I really feel at least touches on this. The words intellectual property are really throwing me on this. So basically what I'm saying, and I'm gonna denote these 3 let's see, I guess I'll highlight these. And I'm going to say if you cannot start on these yet, I'm going to the ISTE certification 16-hour mandatory face-to-face training a week from this Friday. So next Friday and next Saturday, I'll be in New Orleans going through that training. And what I'm hoping is that I can get a better sense of what ISTE is accepting for these three skills as teachers proving themselves of implementing these skills. So if you can, try not to start on these. I think these two, if you choose these two as two of your three that you have to do for majors, that will keep you plenty busy for the next week. So hold off on these three, and I'm hoping that after that face-to-face 16-hour training that I'm going to, I can get a better handle on that. Again, what's throwing me is intellectual property and encourage curiosity. I'm good with that. That's pretty easy, especially if we get into hands-on learning and science-based learning. But as they critically identify and examine online resources, I'm really having a hard time thinking of the little bitties and how we can talk about their curiosity when looking at online resources. Anyway, I'm hoping I can get some feedback from ISTE next weekend for that. Okay, so those are the major ones. Then you have to pick two of the four of these minor ones. Facilitate students' virtual meetings with experts or students. This one I see as extremely straightforward. Like this one is very clear to me. I love Skype in the classroom. I used that a lot when I was in the classroom. You can do mystery Skype, where you're with another classroom around the world. You can have experts come in your room here. So that is a huge resource for you guys. But also we've used Zoom, we've used Google Hangouts. So for this minor one, I'm just asking you to implement a live meeting with a class or another expert. And what you will hand in is your lesson plan, what were your objectives, and what is your evaluation. Again, always tie those together. Maybe a picture and definitely a reflection on what you think that. Again, please make sure you're doing a live meeting and not a recording with an expert for that one. I've heard from ISTE that they will not take just playing a recorded video for this one. It has to be a live one. Okay, next minor, again, you only have to pick two of four of these. Demonstrate effective communication with all student supporters. I want you to implement one new way to do this and talk about one existing way you're already doing this. If you're doing something to communicate with parents and student supporters that is not on this list, that is absolutely fine. Tell me about one thing you're already doing, implement one new one, and let me know how it goes. Don't just turn this in the day after you start using Remind. Give it a couple weeks and maybe ask your parents, what did you think? Are you actually using it? That way you can see what maybe the best method of communication is. Again, I think that one's pretty straightforward. The real straightforward ones are the ones I said minor, because they're going to take you guys a lot less time to implement. Accommodate learner differences. You guys already do this in your classrooms. We just haven't had a chance to turn this in a class. So create a detailed list of your students, of course not using their real names, their accommodations, as well as those traditional students that may not have listed accommodations, but by this time in the year, you know they need something. Outline one major project that you already use and identify how each of these individuals is accommodated. Y'all, I keep seeing overlap. That absolutely can overlap with this project. But for your ISTE certification, you would have to distinguish these as two different projects. So I'm going to make you do that here, again, hoping that in the future you guys can use these to get ISTE certified. Okay, and last one, provide opportunities for students to reflect on their own learning data. I think Al was the one that said this one really well in the live meeting. I'm not looking at, okay, I made a D on my daily grade. The students will look at that and say, oh, I need to study my vocabulary words more for the test. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more of a big picture, possibly a standardized test, possibly a unit test, and the students being able to look back at how they did on earlier things and how it can inform their being successful on a major project. Again, I think this one would be more difficult for little bitties and easier for a little bit older, perhaps third grade and up. But that is why I gave y'all choices in these. Okay, so I'm almost at my time limit for the free Screencast-O-Matic. I really hope this helps, guys, and I really hope y'all can see the similarities and where I'm trying to go, especially between this 511, where we're hitting a goal, we're hitting one of the ISTE standards here, but it also looks a whole lot like the ISTE standard here, which also looks a whole lot like the ISTE standard here. Even though, just for a class project, we probably could hit all three of these standards in one large project. ISTE won't let you do that for certification, so I am requiring that you guys do three distinct projects. I hope that helps. If it didn't, y'all, of course, have my text message, email, call me, whatever you need. And looking forward to seeing you guys at LaQ. Make sure you have your LaQ proposal in. Again, I recommend that you pair up with somebody and each lead one of the proposals in case one of you isn't accepted. Make sure you go get the SmackDown in. And if you would like a shirt to match us all at LaQ, remember 3 Stitches has some new options other than the real thick, heavy ones that they had last year. Maybe even we can go to dinner one night at LaQ if y'all are up for that. So looking forward to seeing you guys there, and shortly after at graduation, let me know if I can help in any other way. Have a great day. Bye.